Welcome to the StockManor.com studios. I'm your Stockmanor, Brian Johnson. And here we go again. Just same thing, different day. Started with a very big gap up to start the day. Did not hold coming into about the second hour of the day. You can see where we came up, tried to at least make an attempt at this high again. Fell short. 3 points, never broke that 11,250 mark. And started to really actually fall pretty hard the rest of the day. Internal started to turn middle of the day in a big way. Looked like we might see a more major pullback here, and then it came right back down into some lower support areas here with the moving averages. Pulled or pushed its way down into this area, only to see the bulls come right back in at the end of the day and gobble it right back up. This is just going to wander, I think, here for the next couple days at least, till after the elections are over. Markets are going to make sure of it. So where did we end up? Well, for the day, of course, we ended up right at or around the break-even mark again. Gee, go figure. So if we look at it on a daily, you can see precisely what we saw today, and that was what? A retest of that 20-day moving average. The low of the day was 11,062, with the 20-day being at 11,073, so just a touch below at 11 points, which is a sneeze on the Dow. And you can see it pull right back up, making sure it did not close below the 20-day. I've talked about this and talked about this. And sure enough, today we did actually get what would be considered maybe at least a push below the 20-day. But the bulls were not going to allow that to happen coming into the elections tomorrow. So, at least for another day, here we are above the 20-day moving average. Pushing above this level, staying above this level, still caught in that trading range. Opportunities maybe for, I don't know, if you wanted to try to take some, it was hard to take any kind of a trade this morning because of the larger gap up to start the day. There was opportunity in the middle of the day to catch some of that on the way down. Actually, there was some pretty easy trading in the mid-afternoon here on that tumble to the downside to pull some dollars out of the market. But you can see overall, when it was said and done, still holding in that trading range. More conservative levels to get in down here and above that 11,250-ish mark to the upside. So as we come into the elections, we have now at least touched and even today broke that blue line on the NASDAQ. The first, I don't know, potential chink in the armor here. The NASDAQ did break that blue line, but you can see hitting the 50 and then moving right back up into these overhead levels. Here was the move above 2140 today to the 2150 mark. I said that was kind of my no-fly zone. As you can see, that's we saw a lot of resistance in this area, hitting 2148, pushing right back down as quickly as it had gone up in the morning. It was on its way back down, hitting the 50, staying right where? Yeah, back to that 2125 mark, which is where we've been for quite a while. NASDAQ on a daily too, also showing us here a little bit of that topping candle type thing, but once again, as long as it stays sideways, it's more neutral to bullish. Very, very difficult to trade up in these areas. Still got to look at your intraday trades overall. Stay away from those swing trades. That 2150 mark being right up in this area here. 2148, of course, being the high for the day. So to start the week, this is what we're putting in. Starting to look like little tiny spaceships up here. These little tiny spinning top dojis that we're putting in. SPX 60-minute up into the blue. Notice how we broke but did not close above the blue line on a 60-minute. So once again, this blue line still extremely valid for me and my trading. Coming back down here, 1195 was that high. Looking for pushes up and over this area before you started looking at any kind of a long position. But then again, it was 1200, 1205, and on the way up. You can see we were not quite able to make a new high. Look at that. Missed it by about a half a penny. So, not able to hold this high, coming right back down. Finding support at the moving averages here. All right, so we broke below it, only to come right back above it, but no entry to the short side. We did not get our entries to the short side. Looked like it might push and get some more major action coming in here, but you can see obviously that by the end of the day, the bulls brought that right back up again to finish more on a, once again, break even. The low of the day, 1177. 1175 is the 20-day, so we're still not necessarily touching the 20-day, but we are coming awful close, within a point or two on multiple attempts. This is the break down here that you want to watch for. Below 1165 or below 1170 if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, but that is still your entry to the short side. We did not get that today. Just another big doji day for the markets. Hanging above this area here, that'll be the one to watch on the way back down. The weekly also trying to just, you can see 1193 is now the 200 on the weekly. So we did just inch above it, but not able to hold above it. VIX on a daily, look at this. This was one of the more telling events of the day for me. Now, we did get finally not only a push, but a close above this falling wedge that we've been watching. I really want to close above 2350 to be a little bit more secure in the fact that the markets are going to get a little bit more spooked at this point. But now that Halloween's over, maybe the fear comes in. Strange, huh? Halloween's done, now the fear comes. So let's see. I always give the other side a day or so to pull this back. But if it'll stay above this blue line, that will be more, I guess, bullish for the VIX. If there is a bullish and a bearish for the VIX, I guess I would call that exactly that. Looking at this as now a breakout, for the most part, on the VIX. Still not in any kind of a major... It is what it is. It broke this falling wedge, okay? And if it'll hold there for a few days, I'll be more convinced. Let's give the bears one more day to get the VIX back down into here and show that, wait, there's not as much, there's no fear here. But we got the close above this area. Let's see if that adds to more bullishness in the VIX. Got to get above these moving averages on a weekly, and this is a weekly, so we won't talk about it. It's only Monday. Okay, Apple, though. Up $3, 320. Apple still poised in kind of a falling wedge here to break up and out of this thing. If we can get above 307, I think Apple can continue on a little bit of a push higher. I don't know if it'll break the highs quite yet, but if we can, get above 307 or so, I wouldn't be surprised to see us reach 312, 315-ish area. At least. From a daily, you can see that would coincide with a retest of the underside of this. Trying to hold that 20-day. Notice how it's doing its best to try to hold that 20-day. Very, very, very muted trading since the volatility hit on the last earnings. Volatility day was right here, and then it's just been kind of wandering around, more down than anything. But all of this move can still lead to a push up in Apple. You'll want to watch it up over 307 and then back into the bottom side of this channel. From a weekly, it is only Monday, so we'll see what that looks like as we proceed into the week. Here we go. FAS staying well within, shouldn't say well within, but staying nicely within this little falling channel that we're watching. You see it tap the bottom, run right back up. Everything behaved very nicely, by the way, with support and resistance. Here we got a break out of the triangle only to close back in the triangle. So still waiting for the more major break here on FAS. FAZ on a 60-minute also touching the top of its channel, and from a daily staying within this falling wedge. Look how it touched the top of this as well. Guys, support and resistance worked beautifully today. Really did. I had a lot of good support drawn in, and it hit perfectly today and ran away from it when the bulls came in later on in the day. It was multiple lines of support for me when it hit that 1174-ish area. I hope you're finding that in your trading. If you're not, get yourself help. Get yourself an education. It's so important that you can identify these things in your trading when you're doing it. Really helps with profits too. I don't always call tops and bottoms. It's impossible to do that. Nobody can do that. Certainly not 100%. Nobody can do that. But when you have support and resistance and you see a confluence of support and resistance, it makes trading a whole lot easier. Today I was actually able to call almost a perfect bottom in the market as it sprung back to the upside, and made for a perfect exit on my short position, and allowed me to actually sneak a little bit of a long position in before the end of the day. I didn't get a lot on the way back up as I waited for confirmation, but once I did, I was able to squeeze a few more points out by the end of the day. So get yourself that education. So important to do. And I'll be back with you again when? Oh, yeah, tomorrow, of course. See you then. Bye.